Breakups are never easy, but when you're dealing with someone who avoids emotional closeness, the confusion can feel overwhelming. One moment, they're pulling away, the next, you're left questioning everything. Do they miss you? Does the no-contact rule even work on someone like them? Or are you simply giving them exactly what they've been craving, space and distance? Here's where things get interesting. The silence you offer isn't just an empty void. It's not just you walking away, it's a deliberate act that shakes the foundation of their emotional comfort. Suddenly, the space they thought they wanted transforms into something entirely different. Your silence isn't just absence, it's a force, an unspoken challenge that disrupts their carefully constructed world, exposing vulnerabilities they've worked so hard to keep hidden. Let's dive deeper into the surprising ways your silence can create ripples they never saw coming. The paradox of avoidance. Avoidant individuals are experts at maintaining emotional distance. They pride themselves on their independence, crafting a life that feels safe and secure without the complexities of deep emotional connection. But beneath that exterior lies a hidden truth: while they crave distance, they also fear abandonment. Your decision to go silent throws this delicate balance into chaos. By stepping back, you take away their emotional safety net, the constant assurance of your presence. They're left with a void, and for the first time, they're forced to face the very emotions they've been avoiding. It's like a bird that's always loved soaring in the open sky, free and unbound. But what happens when they realize there's no nest to return to? The solitude they once cherished begins to feel cold, and the emptiness becomes impossible to ignore. This is the paradox of avoidance. They run from intimacy to protect themselves, but when your silence enters the equation, they're confronted with the reality of what that distance truly costs. It's not just space you're giving them, it's a mirror reflecting the parts of themselves they've tried to escape. The psychological impact of silence. Silence is more than just the absence of words, it's a mirror that reflects the consequences of their choices. For an avoidant person, your decision to go silent creates a profound shift. Initially, they might feel a sense of relief, believing that the space aligns with their desire for independence. But as the days turn into weeks, something unexpected happens. The relief they felt started to fade, replaced by a growing discomfort. They begin to realize that this absence isn't accidental, it's deliberate. For the first time, they're not in control of the distance. You've chosen to step back, and that choice changes everything. It's like looking into a still pond. The surface may seem calm at first glance, but as ripples form, they reveal deeper truths. Your silence acts as those ripples, forcing them to confront the emotional avoidance they've relied on for so long. This realization unsettles them. The absence they thought they wanted begins to echo with feelings they can no longer ignore. Your silence doesn't just give them space, it turns their carefully constructed emotional world into unfamiliar territory, leaving them to face the void they created. Reclaiming your energy. Your silence isn't about punishing them or seeking revenge, it's about reclaiming your self-respect. When you decide to step back, the dynamics of the relationship shift entirely. You're no longer chasing or explaining yourself, instead, you're drawing a boundary that redefines the narrative. By withdrawing your energy, you regain control over your emotions and your life. You're no longer reacting to their behavior or trying to fit into the role they've assigned to you. This decision to step back highlights your inner strength. It's a reminder that your worth isn't determined by someone else's ability to appreciate it. This period of silence isn't just about them, it's an opportunity for you to grow. Use this time to reconnect with the parts of yourself that may have been overshadowed by the relationship. Dive into your passions, set new goals, and focus on the things that bring you joy and fulfillment. Think of this as planting seeds in your garden. The time and energy you once poured into the relationship can now be redirected toward your self-improvement. As you nurture your growth, you'll find yourself becoming a stronger, more grounded version of who you are, ready to move forward on your terms. The emotional disruption. Silence has a way of amplifying emotions, even for someone who avoids them. As time passes, guilt begins to creep in, often during the quiet moments, late at night when distractions fade and their thoughts grow louder. Memories resurface, unanswered questions linger, and they start to question their decisions. Was I too quick to push them away? Did I take their presence for granted? This guilt feels like carrying unnecessary weight on a mountain. At first, they barely notice it, convinced they're doing fine. But as the journey continues, the burden becomes harder to ignore. The emotional walls they've built can't shield them from the growing realization of what they've lost. Here's where the wisdom of Stoicism becomes invaluable. As Epictetus taught, it is not events that disturb us, but our interpretation of them. Their guilt is not your burden to carry or your problem to solve. It's a reflection of their choices, and they must navigate it on their own. Instead of stepping in to ease their discomfort, focus on rebuilding your peace. Let their guilt be their journey while you use this time to reclaim your emotional balance. By prioritizing your well-being, you reinforce the boundary that your silence represents. A boundary rooted in self-respect and personal growth. The power of silence. Silence is often underestimated, but it has a way of amplifying the truth. For an avoidant person, your silence exposes the cracks in their emotional walls, the ones they worked so hard to build and maintain. Without your constant validation, they're forced to confront the choices they've made and the stories they've told themselves about who they are. This internal reckoning can be unsettling. The absence of your presence creates a void they can't ignore, one that challenges their self-image and makes them question their decisions. Did I make the right call? Was pushing them away really what I wanted? Your silence isn't just the lack of words, it's a statement of strength. It shows that you're no longer willing to participate in a dynamic that doesn't serve your well-being. Instead of reacting or trying to bridge the gap, you're holding your ground with quiet confidence. This choice is anything but passive, it's an active declaration of self-respect. It signals that your worth isn't tied to their actions or attention. By embracing this silence, you not only shift the dynamic but also create space for your confidence and growth to flourish. You're proving to yourself, and them, that you're capable of thriving independently, and that's a power no one can take from you. When the tables turn. Avoidant individuals often find comfort in being chased. It allows them to maintain control, reinforcing the narrative that others will always reach out to close the emotional gap they've created. But your silence breaks this pattern, flipping the dynamic on its head. When you stop chasing, the absence of your pursuit unsettles them. They start questioning their desirability, wondering if they've underestimated your value. Doubts creep in. Why haven't they reached out? Did I misjudge how important I was to them? It's like a dancer who has always performed under the assurance of a spotlight. They move with confidence, knowing the light will follow them wherever they go. But when the spotlight shifts away, the stage feels unfamiliar, even threatening. That's what your absence does, it removes the attention they've relied on, forcing them to navigate a reality without your validation. This disruption in the dynamic often leads them to reevaluate their choices. Regret begins to surface as they recognize what they may have lost. Meanwhile, your silence sends a clear message: you're no longer playing the role they've grown accustomed to. Instead, you're reclaiming your power, leaving them to confront their insecurities. Regret in hindsight. At first, your absence may bring them a sense of relief. Avoidant individuals often feel overwhelmed by emotional connection, so the initial space can seem like a welcome break. But as time goes on, that relief begins to fade, replaced by the growing realization of what they've truly lost. It's not the grand gestures or significant moments that haunt them, it's the small, subtle details. The way you instinctively knew how to brighten their day, your laughter during a shared joke, or the quiet comfort of simply being together. These moments, once taken for granted, now feel monumental in their absence. This period of reflection is when regret sets in. The emotional connection they distance themselves from begins to feel like warmth they'll never find elsewhere. While they sit with these realizations, your focus should remain on yourself. Use this time to nurture your inner strength and passions. Revisit the goals and hobbies that bring you joy. Deepen connections with supportive people in your life. By pouring energy into your personal growth, you'll emerge from this experience stronger, more grounded, and fully aligned with your sense of worth. Your silence isn't just about creating space for them to reflect, it's a powerful opportunity for you to rediscover and embrace your best self. The roar of silence. Silence can be deafening, especially for someone who once felt secure in your presence. By stepping back, you force them to confront a fear they've been avoiding: what if I've lost them for good? Your absence isn't just a pause in communication, it's an emotional void that challenges their sense of control. It's like a light in a familiar room suddenly going out. They didn't think much about its glow when it was there, but now, in the darkness, its absence is undeniable. Without your constant presence, they're left to grapple with unsettling questions. Why haven't they reached out? Did I misjudge their importance in my life? These thoughts echo louder than any words, shaking the foundation of their carefully constructed emotional walls. Your strength lies in restraint. By holding your ground, you demonstrate resilience and self-respect. You're not reacting or chasing, you're standing firm in your decision to prioritize your peace. This sends a powerful message, that your worth doesn't depend on their validation, and your emotional well-being is non-negotiable. In this silence, you reclaim your power. While they navigate their discomfort, you continue to grow and thrive, proving to yourself, and to them, that your strength isn't just in your presence but in your ability to hold steady when it matters most. The takeaway here is clear: silence isn't about manipulating someone into missing you or forcing them to act. It's about setting boundaries that protect your emotional well-being and creating space for personal growth. By stepping back, you're not just leaving the dynamic behind, you're actively choosing self-respect and emotional resilience. Now, I want to hear from you. Share your experiences in the comments below. How has silence impacted your relationships? Have you seen it create unexpected shifts, or perhaps helped you find clarity and strength within yourself? Let's start a conversation. Remember, reclaiming your power isn't about proving anything to anyone else, it's about proving to yourself that your peace and self-worth are non-negotiable. Focus on building the best version of your life, one rooted in confidence and self-respect. Let silence work in your favor. It's not the absence of communication, it's the presence of purpose. And in that purpose lies your power to move forward, stronger than ever before.